Okay, let's start with something I'm pretty sure has happened to all of us. You ever leave a potato in the pantry for just a little too long, and when you finally find it, it's grown these weird little sprouts? You know, the eyes? What's really going on there? Well, if you've seen that, you've actually seen a plant cloning itself. Seriously, that lonely potato was basically getting ready to make a genetically identical twin right there in your pantry. So how is that even possible? At its heart, asexual reproduction is actually a really simple idea. It's just the process of making a new plant from a single parent. No flowers, no pollen, no seeds needed. It's like the ultimate shortcut to making a new plant. And this is a huge deal for plants. I mean, think about it. It's super efficient, right? You only need one parent. And the new plant is a perfect genetic clone. That's a massive advantage if the environment isn't changing because you already know the parent plant's traits work. It lets them spread like wildfire. And this isn't some random fluke that just happens with forgotten potatoes. Nope. Plants have been mastering the art of self-cloning for millions of years. So let's take a look at the different ways they pull this off, all by themselves. Yeah, you can think of this next part as us getting a sneak peek into nature's secret playbook. It's full of all these amazing strategies for survival and, well, world domination, plant style. So inside this toolkit, there are four main methods we're going to cover: budding, vegetative propagation, fragmentation, and spore formation. All right, first up is budding. And this takes us right back to where we started, our potato. A bud is just an outgrowth on the parent. And each one, like those potato eyes, has the entire genetic blueprint to grow into a brand new, independent plant. Next, we've got vegetative propagation. This is all about using specialized parts of the plant. Think about strawberries. They send out these long stems called runners, and new little plants just pop up along them. Then you've got plants that use their roots, like a sweet potato, which is a special root called a tuber that can sprout a whole new plant. And get this, some plants can grow tiny, perfect little plantlets right on the edges of their leaves. How cool is that? Then there's fragmentation, and it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. A piece of the parent plant just breaks off, maybe a branch, maybe a leaf, and if it lands somewhere with good soil, boom, it can grow a whole new root system and become its own plant. It's super simple, but incredibly effective for spreading out. And last up for nature's methods is spore formation. This is the go-to for ancient plants like moss and ferns. A spore is basically a tiny little reproductive package with a super tough protective coating. This design is genius because it lets the spore survive really harsh conditions. Think crazy heat or no water, and it just waits, kind of like it's hibernating, until things get better. Then it germinates and starts to grow. So, okay, nature is obviously a pro at this, but what happens when we, humans, get involved? Well, that brings us to the gardener's toolkit, all the artificial methods we've come up with by basically copying what plants were already doing. By far, the most common method is taking a cutting. And this is something literally any of us can do. You just snip off a piece of a stem, stick it in some soil, water it, and you're giving it a shot to grow a whole new set of roots. It's honestly no surprise this is the cheapest and easiest way for big nurseries to churn out thousands of identical plants. Then you have something called grafting. This is a really cool technique where you're literally joining two different plants together to make one. You have the stalk, which is just the rooted plant base, and the graft, which is the piece you're adding on top. The graft is what grows into the part you actually want, the specific flowers or fruit. This is how we get so many different kinds of apples, all growing from the same type of tough root system. Layering is another smart trick. You take a branch that's still attached to the main plant, bend it down to the ground, and bury a part of it in the soil. And here's the genius part. The new section starts growing its own roots, but it's still getting nutrients and support from the parent plant the whole time. Once it's strong enough on its own, you just snip it loose. Okay, but what if you need to make not just a few plants, but thousands or even millions? For that, you gotta go to the lab. And this next idea is all about huge scale and crazy speed. The technique is called micropropagation, and it is next-level cloning. We're talking about scientists taking a tiny, tiny piece of plant tissue. It's called an explant. And in a super sterile lab, they can get that one little piece to grow into thousands of identical new plants. It's wild. All right, we've gone from forgotten potatoes all the way to high-tech labs. But why does any of this actually matter? What's the big deal? Let's zoom out a bit and look at the real-world impact of this plant superpower, from your garden to the whole planet.
So here's a quick recap of what we've talked about. You've got the natural methods, like budding and potatoes, and then the artificial ones we use for things like grafting fruit trees. It's this toolkit that gives us a lot of the consistent food we eat, like bananas. Every single one is a clone.
And this is why it's so crucial. Plant cloning is basically the engine of the modern nursery business. It lets them grow tons of plants fast. It's absolutely essential for huge global crops like bananas, sugarcane, and ginger. It's also a game changer for conservation because we can use it to help save rare and endangered plants. And of course, it guarantees that the good stuff, like the taste of your favorite apple, is perfectly replicated every single time. So yeah, it really all comes full circle. We start with a single potato eye in a dark pantry, and we end up with massive plantations that feed millions of people. This ability to clone is, for sure, one of nature's most powerful and most useful blueprints. So I'll just leave you with this to think about. If a single, tiny piece of a leaf holds the complete blueprint for a whole new plant, just what other amazing secrets are hiding out there, right in our own backyards?